Day has come upon us, and we are having a blast behind the scenes with the Jew Show. So I'm glad you're here because the simple fact that you could be someplace else other than you decided to wake up with us and spend the time on the Jew Show with us. So thank you for being here. And the way we want to thank you is to definitely shout you out. So go ahead and put your name of where you're, not your name, but where you're chiming from in the chat so we can shout you out as well. And if you've been keeping track, if it's your first time here, put first. But if you've been keeping track of how many times you've been here, put that in there as well. Or if you've been here before, just say repeat. We appreciate the support each and every Sunday that we are out here sharing the information about finances and real estate and how you can move forward in both and reach the things that you want to do, whether that might be goals or dreams or both. So thank you for being here. I'm going to shout out Valerie. Hey, Valerie from Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome. I promise I will not do the accent. I'm tempted, but that's not nice. Who else is out there chiming in? Let us know. We definitely want to thank you for showing up today. And our topic today, I am somewhat pleased to see because you never know what's going on in the economy. And people definitely are shouting out about how they feel. So we figure we come up with a way to sort of combat that and put you in a better light just by educating you on what you have the capacity to do and not feel like you are strapped and can't do anything. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. But other than that, she's like, please don't promise you I won't. But definitely glad you all are here to share this topic because I'm sure there's not only just us that have either been through it or have heard of someone that is going through it. And it doesn't hurt to share the information to help another person along, indeed. So, yes. Hopefully, you all are safe and dry out there from our little dust storm we had a few days ago. Who knew? A dust storm in the middle of Chicago. Unbelievable. So, hey, Alvin from Cincinnati, Ohio. Hey, Alvin, I'm telling you, somebody else on another platform gets a chance to say your name the way you be like, don't do it. I won't do it, Alvin. I'll respect you. But every single Wednesday, I hear it. So, welcome. Glad you are here and made it. And anyone that's a guest on here today, please let me know because I definitely want to shout you out because we want to let the person that invited you know that you actually showed up and showed out for the info. So, welcome. And if you don't put your name, or not your name, but where you're chiming from in the chat, I'll definitely shout you out anyway. So I see Leslie. Leslie, come on in. And if you don't mind putting in the chat where you are chiming in from, glad you made it. Appreciate it. And as I mentioned before, and I'll mention it again, we definitely have a talented crew behind the scenes. We love to share their talent, whether you see them in person or you hear about them. But we got our own video, and I am so glad that we didn't have to go outside the crew to get it done or pay because people are just talented on their own. So when that pops up, feel free to dance, sing. It never gets old for me. I enjoy each and every time. So here we go with the Jew Show video. Yes, how far will you go to get the juice, the power, the information, the knowledge? So, I'm going to go ahead and introduce to you the Juice Crew and our topic for today. We have James, we got Jerry, we got Bobby, we got Teresa, we have myself in front of and behind the cameras. And our topic today is kind of an interesting one. And I say that because I have experienced it. It is about subject to acquisitions and foreclosures. Um, if you know anyone that has dealt with the foreclosure or you've dealt with it yourself, there is no judgment whatsoever here. There are all kinds of circumstances that happen. All we want to do is just educate and move you forward to get you going and on your way. So take it away, guys.
All right, welcome to the Juice Show. Thank you, LaShawn. Always do an amazing job opening up for us. We really appreciate you. And like LaShawn said, this topic is something that comes up in real estate a lot. You might be going through it yourself, or you might know someone who's going through it, and so this is going to help you, right? Especially if you're a real estate investor, your job is to find great deals, and this is one of those ways that's a good way to do that. So I had to ask, like in the beginning, did you know that you can purchase a property without using any of your own money or even getting your credit check or having to go and get a loan from the bank? Who here knew that before they got started in real estate, that there was a strategy out there that would allow you to buy those properties? I'll start with the host, Jerry, Bobby, even LaShawn, if you want to chime in.
Well, me myself personally, I definitely did not know that there were ways of getting into real estate transactions without using my credit. And definitely with me being as on zero in my bank account as I was, right? And so I can promise you that misconception resonated with me fully because I just, like anyone else, like we all been taught, like nothing is really free, right? Ain't nothing free in the world, right? So it definitely was a big um epiphany for me, right? And so man, I immediately turned that into my niche way of thinking of how to purchase real estate. And so yes, I didn't know, right? However, coming to this community and finding that out, man, it was huge for me. Huge. When I say huge, I mean, man. So forever grateful that I learned what we're going over today about the subject to strategy.
Okay,
Well,
what about you, Bobby?
no, so the question is, did I know that you could get a property route without using your own credit, without using um your own money? And what was the third one?
And don't have to go to the bank.
I don't
No
have to
banks
go to the
involved.
bank. No. Did I know these things before I came here? No. Um, I didn't know much about real estate. I didn't know much about how people got into it. I don't know how people got involved. Um, I thought that was only for people with a lot of money. I had no idea. So me thinking that I was going to get into real estate was the furthest thing from my mind. The only thing I knew about real estate was Monopoly, playing Monopoly. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I didn't know that was such a big thing. And now that I know a little more or a lot more, and then seeing what Monopoly was trying to do and everything like that, I was thinking like, man, it has some little truth to it because it just lets you know that there's money in real estate investing. Um, the only thing I knew about real estate was it was for the wealthy for whatever reason. So
Right,
as far as me thinking that I would be able to do something like this or get properties or team up or anything, I didn't know anything until I got on YouTube. However, I came across wholesaling was my first introduction into real estate investing.
right.
Now,
Likewise. You know,
Yeah.
likewise, that's how I came into real estate. It was on YouTube, they were sharing a lot about the wholesaling strategy. So of course we knew we can make money in real estate without using our own money and credit that way, but you don't acquire the property in the wholesale deal. So when this topic today, subject to you actually acquiring the property, so that was real unique. I'm like Bobby, I'm thinking that you had to be wealthy. I thought you had to save money for a down payment. I thought you had to look on Zillow or something for properties, and those are all listed through a realtor. What your experience, Jerry, like as far as looking for properties? What were your ways early on that you thought that you know had to find them?
Well, in this for this topic, you know, in terms of subject to, right? Um, actually, going out and looking for people who are currently inside of a mortgage, right? And what the subject to strategy is simply um, taking over someone's existing financing, not the property. It's you are actually stepping in and now you're making the payments to the, let's just use the bank as an example. You are now making those payments to that actual bank instead of that homeowner making the payments. So you are actually um, making a transaction subject to the existing financing. So that's the kind of like the definition of this thing, right? So you are taking over a mortgage subject to that existing financing. So that's what allows your credit not to be ran. And that's
Yeah,
what it allows for you to not have to have a whole bunch of money, so to speak, right? It could be, you know, in a form of down payment. You are maybe bringing that mortgage current because the homeowner
right.
may be behind in payments. So you may be have to make a few mortgage payments to bring it current, right? And then now you continue on making those payments until that mortgage is paid off. That's when um, that's what a completed subject to looks like, right? And so in my case, I haven't done a subject to transaction per se, right? However, it is, you know, now is the time. And what I mean by now is the time, is always a good time to buy real estate. It's never a time. Don't listen to people talking about, no, wait till the interest rate to get right. It's always the
Right.
right time to buy. You just got to know how to buy properly, right? And so, in this case, in this matter, subject twos and foreclosures is coming into play. Is now the two strategies that are really hot right now, so to speak. People are coming out of the pandemic where they had put their mortgage in deferment, and so
Right.
now it's time to make those payments. And now people have to come up with a large lump sum of cash to bring their mortgage current, which is the opportunity that is opened up for us as investors, right?
I'm glad you mentioned that too, Jerry, because that's important. Like you said, COVID happened, a lot of people couldn't make their payments, and then you, like you said, they went to deferment, and that deferment sometimes told them that they can put that those missed payments to the back of the loan. Was
Right.
really what it did was it ate up their equity, and so even now, if they was in a position where they still couldn't make those payments and they are in pre-foreclosure, they still might not have enough equity to even sell it. Meaning that if they tried to sell it at the closing table, they might have to come out of pocket with money that they don't have because the equity that they once had got ate up through that deferment process. You know, so
Yeah. So my experience with the pandemic and as I was prospecting, I went to a couple agents, went to a couple of firms, agent firms, and I was speaking to an individual agent about the possibilities of a lot of pre-foreclosures and foreclosures coming into action during after the pandemic. You know, I said this is going to be a problem. This is going to be something that, you know, us as real estate investors could probably look into to find properties. And he was so he didn't have the knowledge of knowing because he said, well, it's not going to be as bad as you think because people are just going to refinance. But at that time, I didn't have enough information as a rebuttal to bring it back up to him. Like, a lot of people won't be able to refinance because of the situation and dire straits that they're going to be in. But at that time, I didn't know. I was thinking like, okay, so they're just going to refinance, not knowing that everybody didn't have that option or was in a position to do that. So,
Right. And to add to that, Bobby, in order for them to refinance, they have to qualify for that refinance. So if they can't pay their bills now, how can they make the qualifications and say, yeah, even at this refinance, maybe it's a lower interest, or maybe the payment went lower. Can I even
mm,
afford the lower payment? So is refinancing even an option? And do I have equity after all this to even refinance?
right. Right. And I couldn't bring that up to him to the point where it would make more sense. But, those one moments that, that stay with you that you wish that you could have, oh man, bring that up to him to the point where being an investor, maybe not just over an agent, but just to have that knowledge.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that you said that too, because without that knowledge, like Bobby's saying, that's hard. That's hard to deal with knowing that, you listening to a so-called professional realtor or whatever tell you this, and it's like really you can't combat it with anything because you don't have the information or the knowledge to even have that conversation. So it's kind of good when you guys get educated and you learn these strategies. So when it comes up, you at least have something to offer the conversations when you in it. I'm gonna say this. I love the way Jerry broke down subject two. Jerry, like you really just broke it down really simple for people to understand. I wanted people who on right now in the chat, let us know if you really understood what Jerry said when he mentioned the subject two. I think he did a good job with explaining that or the subject
Or if it's
two.
somebody online, right? Because we have people on
Go
Facebook
online.
as well. If you got questions about the subject to strategy, right? Any question, it don't matter, right? Put it in the chat, let us know. Come off of mute. We want to talk. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a conversation. So in terms of like understanding um how to actually go out and look for a subject to situation, right? You are actually looking for mortgages that have low interest rates, right? And preferably low interest rates and properties that have equity. You know what I'm saying? And so having those conversations with those sellers and letting them know that there is a number of different ways that we could um, combine strategies to purchase your property or purchase your equity and make sure that your mortgage is paid off so that you would get a paid off mortgage in your name rather than a foreclosure, right? So just learning how to utilize the subject to strategy and how to actually go out and find the properties is important, right? And so
So
Yeah,
what would you say? Because in our classes, they speak and other people who may not know, because as was brought up in the classes, he mentioned that what isn't that taking advantage of people in that situation. So how would you avoid it, and how would you explain to other people that it isn't just a vulture thing that you're trying to just look on people and prey on their situation? So how would you explain to people like, that isn't the case?
I love that question. I love that question. Um, so the way that a person that is faced with a scenario where they are behind in payments, right? First thing is you informing them that you want to help them, right? And it's not necessarily that you buying their home to help them, right? You can be helping them to get their payments up, right? You could be showing them ways that they can technically pull from their mortgage to make their payments if they have equity, right? So it's a lot of different ways in which you can actually help a homeowner, right? And so like it is an integrity thing because it like we have the power to the knowledge to take advantage of people, right? This knowledge gives you that ability to really like have to put your ethics and morals in check because you can literally, like destroy some people's lives, right? Take their properties, do some heinous bad things, and we have seen that, right? And so, it is like it's a personal thing. It is, you know what I'm saying? It is not a I don't know how to say it other than saying like if your priorities ain't in check and you are out here trying to take advantage of people, right? Like you can do that, but I just, like I said, our community is different, right? A lot of us, we kind of know, how to go into certain situations without trying to take advantage of people. And so,
Yeah.
hopefully,
I like that question Bobby asked. That's a real question that comes up too, especially when somebody new, they might feel that way as well too. Like, I hope I'm not, taking advantage of people. I'm not looking for people in disadvantages, but you are because um, if someone gets a basketball player gets an ankle injury, and you got thousands of doctors in this world that's qualified to do the procedure on the ankle. Uh, the doctor didn't cause the ankle injury. The doctor is really great in his sense because he can perform the surgery to help that person with the ankle injury. And the basketball player's job is to perform on court, and so the doctor is able to get him back repaired and get them back on the court so he can provide for his family. So it's the same thing as for real estate investors. We don't cause the injury, but we seek out to be the help and the relief that the homeowner, didn't have at first, right? Because a lot of time when you have problems, you don't have people reach out to you to solve those problems. So that's kind of how we step in and we offer that solution. LaShawn, so like somebody in that situation, like, and they're sitting at home, they're dealing with like foreclosure. What's some things that they will want to have happen? Would they be okay with somebody reaching out to them, giving them the option?
Um, you're asking me what are the options that someone could do if they have a
No,
foreclosure? I'm sorry,
no,
go
I'm
ahead.
saying like if you're in that situation, you're a person that's in foreclosure, behind on your payments.
Hmm.
Like what type of relief would love happen for you?
For me, it would be someone that is empathetic, meaning that they have some type of sincerity about what they want to do, and also be very transparent and also explain to a person what their intent is on doing with the property, or just how are you able to help me. For me, it would have been to, for those that don't know, that yes, I have gone through a foreclosure. My husband had passed away, so my income wasn't sufficient enough to continue to have the property. Um, for me, it would have been, being able to explain to me, what that is, um, and just knowing that it's going to be paid off, and I can move forward with some money in my pocket. Um,
Right.
those are the two things I think most people that are dealing with a foreclosure is I don't want this on my record and I want to be able to have a place to go. And a lot of it is just no matter what the circumstances are, and like I said, there's no judgment on this show, but there's a lot of judgment out there. As soon as you hear foreclosure, people are like, oh, they can't pay their bills, they don't pay their bills. Um, and an example that I heard the other day was there's a person that has the wife probably has, a very luxury car, and here you are in a foreclosure. It's like, well, you don't know what that situation was before. Maybe he bought that as for her, the husband bought it for her as a gift, but now he's gone, and so that's her only means of transportation. So the biggest thing is not feeling judged, not being talked down to, being very transparent, explaining the whole entire process, knowing the timeline so that you have an idea, okay, this is where I'm at right now. And in the meantime, you're helping me, but what do I need to do while you're helping
All right.
Nice.
All right.
I
Thank
like
you for
this
that, Sean.
transition. I like the transition from subject to foreclosures because these two strategies kind of link up, right? And so I like the questions that we got from Emmanuel is out of Facebook. His question is rent to own a subject to strategy? And so I'll answer that. Listen, absolutely no. 100% no, right? Rent to own gives the power to the actual renter. So you want to be careful with that. If you're thinking about doing some type of rent to own, you want to do something like a contract for the deed where it doesn't where it doesn't give the power to the renter. It gives you more power as that seller, right? Or also there's a strategy called a lease with an option to buy it. So you are leasing the property to this individual and they have the first option to buy it. If you do rent to own, what happens is the renter say 4 years, 2 years into the thing, hey, I paid $1,500 a month each month for the past 2 years. I don't want to buy the property no more. Let me get my money back. They go to the judge, and especially we gonna talk about this foreclosure. If you are in a judicial state with a rent to own, right? The judge is gonna say, "Oh, that $1,500 that they gave you every single month, you're gonna have to pay that back to them because they was renting to own it, but now they decided they don't want to own it." So that's what I mean by you giving that renter a whole lot of power. And if you don't, and if that renter knows how to play the game, then they can run you through the ringer. So you want to be knowledgeable about what it is that you're setting up, especially getting rid of that renter own. Don't do that. Right.
Right,
Right.
right. So the knowledge.
Oh, he had a
So,
second question too.
oh, okay.
Question. I got you, Kim. I see Kim put a question in here too. His second question was, and could I sublease to a rent to own property that I don't own yet? Great question. Can you sublease a rent to own? Let's go. We didn't deal with the rent to
Wait.
own.
But I don't. But we're not talking about rent to owns. Is it in regards to subject to and foreclosure?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
he asked, his question was is subject to the same as rent to own?
no. It's
Because
just
it
something
appears that way
yeah.
because you've taken over a mortgage. But the the mortgage is different from ownership, right? So the money, the monthly payments has nothing to do with ownership of the property, right? Those are two total separate things. And you're gonna learn that when you get into your classes, right? But could I sublease a rent to own property? So we already got rid of the rent to own, right? But can you sublease it? You absolutely can. This thing called a master lease. So you can rent the property and then you can create what's called a master lease, and then you can lease out the property to the said renter, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you can do that, right?
Yeah, definitely. But it has to be in your paperwork with the person who owns the property that's renting it to you. Because sometimes they don't want to allow you to do that. But if you have it in the paperwork up front and they agree to it, then yeah, you definitely can do it all day.
Yeah, that is called the master lease, right?
Mhm.
So once you get that together, you good.
So you said we have one from Kim.
Yeah, Kim Carroll says, have you had the due on sale clause? Nice
Oh
call.
yeah, I was waiting on this one.
And how did you handle it? So most most of the time, right? If the payments are coming in, the bank ain't, the bank isn't concerned with where the money's coming from, right? So, and secondly, inside the subject to strategy, um, the the seller of that property, you, the seller, and the bank kind of get together and y'all set it up. So it kind of like, you know, if you do it the proper way, then most of the time you not, this due on sale clause wouldn't apply. Only, I mean, they can do it now. They can call it due, right? Once they see some type of change. But um normally, as he teaches inside of our training, they really just kind of want their money. So, but Jay got something on that. Go ahead and hit him.
Yeah, it comes up, and I knew it. It comes up a lot when you talk about this strategy. So Jerry's spot on everything he said. So this is just a screenshot of a little bit in our class. So it's in every single mortgage, like in the U.S., that they have that clause in there. But like Jerry said, as long as you're making that monthly payment on time, the three things that would trigger is missed payments, late payments, and if it goes into default. Those are the three things. In order for the due on sale call, in order for them to exercise the due on sale clause, then the owner has to transfer title to someone else. So once that title transfers, yeah, it said they may cause a property to be due on sale, but it's just may, and most of them don't because they like those on-time payments. And as long as it's a performing note on their books, then it makes the banks look good. So yeah, it does come up, but it's nothing that no investor out of the years really had to worry about. There's some more information on it if you want to screenshot it. This is where it came from.
Great question in the chat, Allison. We see you. Allison says, in the subject to transaction, who holds the deed? Who holds the title to this property? Jay?
So who holds the deed, the title to the property and the subject to?
Yes.
Oh, that was really, really good. Whoever asked that. So in the subject to transaction, I'm stop sharing my screen. The owner transfers over the title, the deed over to you, the buyer, the investor. But the mortgage, the actual debt, the promissory note stays in their name because they can't transfer that over. So that stays with them, and you make payments on their behalf, and you get the title to the property. And you want to have the title to the property because you're going to start making improvements to the property, and you don't want to start improving anything that you don't own, or spending money, start investing in rehabbing or getting ready to flip it without ownership. So
I have a question.
Yes.
So if the person's adding the buyer's name, does that mean that the owner is going to take their name off, or they're just going to add the buyer to the title?
Well, that's what triggered the last question of, are you worried about the due on sales clause? Because
Right.
you set that up, the deed transfers to the new owner.
Mortgage.
So that's why, that question comes about. Well, aren't you guys concerned with the due on sale clause? Because the fact that the deed name has now changed, right? And so when that occurs, then that's when the bank has the right to call the whole note due. Hey, this mortgage is due right now. It changed ownership. But because you set it up the right way, when you go about it, there is a process, right? And so that's what kind of like we, fail to sometimes do, right? Do that process right. It's a correct way, successful way to do a strategy. And then there's a like, oops, I didn't know I was supposed to do that, right? And so understanding how to do the strategy is important if you want to pull it off successfully, right? And so, so you don't get that. To answer that question is simply the deed transfers when you do the actual what's the name. Oh, we got more questions.
are they loading them up? This is
Yeah, I like this. I like this.
yeah.
Emmanuel says, I'm looking at it from a buyer's point of view. Emmanuel, why don't you jump on the Zoom, man? You can come off and answer the questions. But uh he says, I'm looking at it from a buyer's point of view. So I'm the buyer, right? Not the seller's point of view. Uh, I need you to be a little bit more specific. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. Maybe yeah, be a little bit more specific, or and we gonna have Tariq put it in the chat. Let him jump on Zoom. Somebody. All right. So Kim goes. I was thinking of it. The homeowner had a low interest rate. Yes, 2-3% interest rate. The deed changes names. This would trigger them wanting to call it due because they could foreclose and sell it at a higher interest rate.
Well, I can answer. Is that okay? So the banks do not want to call a loan due. The banks do not want to take the property back. That is not in their, that's not their business model at all whatsoever. The foreclosure process costs a lot of money. You know, here it costs like $60,000 for the banks to even hire an attorney to go through the foreclosure process. So automatically they losing money anyway.
And the time and how much time it takes to go through a foreclosure.
Yeah, and here, like Jerry was saying, you have to know what kind of state you're in. Jerry mentioned judicial state versus non-judicial state. Judicial state means everything has to go through the courts, right? Non-judicial, no, you don't have to go through it. So judicial state, the time frame of the foreclosure for us is over a year, even close to 2 years, you know. So all that time being dragged through court, the attorneys make money, the courts make money. Banks don't really benefit like that. Banks want to have a performing asset on their books. So long as you're making those monthly payments, you nearly don't have to ever worry about the dual sale clause. But we bring it up, especially when you get educated, that comes up just so you're aware that it exists. And in case it does happen to you, you'll be ready with an exit plan to be able to pay off that property if that was to happen.
And structuring. So structuring is important. If you set up a subject to and you like, oh, well, I'll just let you, Mr. Seller, make all the payments. I'll just send you the payments and then you make the payments. That might be a wrong way to set that up. You send in the payment, they don't make the payment.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you're in a whole different situation. And also, when you get to that point in terms of the foreclosures part of it, it's important to know what state you're in. Michigan is a non-judicial state. Illinois is a judicial state. Non-judicial states, the bank can sell the property, period. You stop making your payments, we can sell it. We don't have to foreclose. We don't have to do none of that, right? We can sell it outright. Now, if that property is as a value to the bank as you are alluding to, then what they would do is they would then go to repossess the property, right, to get access to that property. Then that's when the court will come into play in terms of a foreclosure, because they want to get that property back. But if they want to sell it inside of a non-judicial state, they can sell it after that third missed payment. No questions asked, no court, no, you got to take me to court. None of that. No, they can sell it right out. You know what I'm saying? So knowing the difference and where you are conducting your business at and what state it is highly important.
Mm-hmm. So what would be some of the factors of the property going into foreclosure? What does that timeline look like to people who might be facing that, and the best way to speak to them to let them know that?
Well, timeline is going to depend upon what state you're in.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So every state has their own,
process,
timeline and process. So you got to really kind of know what's going on if this is a strategy that you intend on employing, not subject to, but I'm talking about foreclosures. Mm-hmm. You're going after direct foreclosure. You got to know what state it in. You got to know the process. That's going to help you solve the problem. Real estate is about solving problems, y'all. It's not about buying a property or selling a property. It's really about, is this property a problem that I can fix with these strategies and make me some money? That's what it's about. It ain't about, oh, this is a nice house. Oh, it looks so pretty. Oh, none of that matters, right? It's all about, can you solve the problem? Emmanuel, another question. Keep them coming, bro. He goes, I was speaking about rent to own or lease options in regards to the subject matter of subject two. All right. However, you answer my question. Thank you. Oh, so
Cool.
he got his question answered. Cool. That's what we want to do. We want
So
to.
let me say this, because I got some gems that I want to tell people that way they thinking about doing it. Hopefully you get educated first and know the whole process from beginning to end. Because even in this process, you have to understand a little bit about foreclosure. You want to learn a little bit about negotiations. So it's a couple things you kind of want to learn with this strategy in order for it to be complete. So, like even mentioned that due on sale clause, we mentioned that to the homeowners, right? We mentioned that that's a possibility, not that we ever seen it happen before out of hundreds of transactions that either we did or other people around us have done. We haven't seen it come up, but we want to make sure you're aware of it, right? So we have a document that shows that. And then just knowing that, like Jerry said, the best way to make your payments to the bank is through the online portal where you can make those payments electronically. And what you want to do is you want to get ahead of, you want to be a 1 month ahead, right? So that way, the bank's always getting that payment on time. So you want to pay one payment ahead of time. And then you also, too, you want to be added as an additional insured on their title, on their insurance policy. One of the things that will trigger the due on sale in some cases is if that insurance changes, because the banks get notifications that happen. So because a lot of payments are PITI, meaning principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, that insurance portion of it changes, that they can see that change. So you just want to be added as additional insured and then also get an umbrella policy.
So tell us where that just came from. Where you get that from? That came from your brain?
Absolutely no. And I like how we
Oh,
start the show because I asked Jerry and Bobby and LaShawn, like, did you even know this existed before you got into real estate? And the answer was no for most of us, including me. So, I took these classes and just watched it, and from people who actually out there doing these transactions every single day. They have attorneys that's setting up these transactions with them, and they've seen a lot. And they even have students come back and tell them, hey, I tried it this way and tried it this way, and it didn't work. I should have tried it the way it was shown and explained here in these classes. So that first one, seller financing subject to class, really breaks down the strategy in detail from all the way from acquiring it, the benefits of the seller, the benefits of the buyer, and then your exit strategy. What are you going to do once you acquire the property via subject to? Are you going to wholesale it? Are you going to flip it? Or what else other strategies you have?
foreclosures. All the things that he just listed in that foreclosure, inside of the foreclosure class with Gavin, he teaches inside of this training that there are eight. I want to
I
say
love it. 8 hours.
but there are eight options in which you can help a seller save their property or get them out of that situation. So inside of foreclosures training, it really hammers home how you can help an individual in that foreclosure process. And man, it's super powerful. You want to be a superhero and saving people, and they really, really thanking you. I don't know if y'all was on the Hive the other night, but I had Debbie Worthington on, and she goes, this is her strategy, helping people out of foreclosures. And, just the stories of people thanking her, oh my God, you saved me. Like that is like ultimate, right? So you want to be a superhero in this real estate game, learn the foreclosure strategy for
And
sure.
definitely negotiations, because you're going to have to speak to these people because they may be in dire straits. So the way that you approach them is going to be something that you want to be cautious of, because a situation that they bring up in the classes as well. What if one spouse doesn't know that they're in foreclosure? So how are you going to approach that? How are you going to break that down to them, right? So there's certain situations that you're going to have to learn how to negotiate with these people to let them know that you aren't just trying to take advantage of them, and just let them know that they have options and that you're just willing to help, right?
Let's
So,
get it. That's it, bro. So where can they get this information from? Let's go through our announcements. Let them know what's happening, Big Bobby.
all right, all right, all right. Yo, definitely shout out to the Juice Crew, bringing you the juice. This is what we do every Sunday. All right, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. You want to be right here plugged into the Juice Show. All right. Usually we have guests, and sometimes when we pivot, we'll bring up the different classes that we have that we can definitely bring you some gems and get you guys involved and get you some information so you know where we got this. All right. And speaking where we got this is the introduction to real estate investing with our very own Mr. Jerry Ruffin, Mr. Motor City himself. He's going to be going through the classes, the education, who we are, what we do, and how you can get involved. And just the strategies that we went over, you can get the same knowledge. And even if you don't want to do real estate, maybe this is something that you might want to know for people around you so you can help. And then we can connect, build a relationship, and help out these individuals. All right. All right, cool. Make the call, secure the deal today, 10:30 Eastern or Central, 11:30 Eastern, cold calling marathon. Just make the call, secure the deal, make sure negotiations, everything that we spoke on is going to help. And we got this with our very own Mr. James Gavin. And, he's going to let you know how to do it and make the calls. All right, cool, cool. All right. Also, we got locating leads with our very own Taj, 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, and locating leads, get ask somebody to get on with you and bring your guests. If you want to find out where the leads are, locating properties, this is a way to do it. All right. So he's going to be letting you know different methods of locating properties because a lot of people say there's no deals out here. Well, we beg to differ. All right. And we got the Juice Show Facebook page. Make sure you like, follow, and review. And anything that we have done in the past, the podcast, you can find out right here. So make sure you like, follow, and review. If you have any suggestions of who we should have on, this is speaking to the people in the community, people that that you can suggest and we haven't had on yet. Please let us know, and we can make that happen. All
And we
right.
do got the mastermind. Go back.
Oh, there we go. There we go. We got the mastermind. All right. If you are looking to know how to find the deals and running the numbers, make sure you get with the person who invited you. And if you're lucky enough, you can get on the real estate mastermind. So this is where we get down to the meat and potatoes on how to find and analyze a deal, how you found it, how you funded it, and what is your exit strategies. All right. So you want to have enough exit strategies to at least do 3 with the property, and they're going to break it down and go through it, and that's all today on how to analyze a deal. So if you having a problem or looking to learn more, this is where you want to be. Make sure you get with the person who invited you. All right, we already went through the Facebook page. Make sure you give us a shout, give us a thumbs up, let us know how we're doing. Past podcasts you can find right here. All right, so look us up. All right. Right now we got bills of the community, community. All right. This is where we celebrate our very own people in the community on them taking action with taking the classes. All right. This is where it all begins. And we want to celebrate you. So if you know somebody who's actually currently doing something and you don't see your name up here in bright lights, and even if you want to go back to the Facebook page, see if your name, you want to circle it, let somebody know that you're doing something, you can bring it up to them so they can get involved as well. So this is what we do. We celebrate you and people around us in the community. And we just want to thank each and every one of you who's making it happen. All right, back to y'all.
Show. So yeah, so in terms of the subject to strategy, you don't need your money and you don't need no credit. Let's go out here and find these. It's so many available properties to us, y'all. You just got to know where to look, know how to go and look for it, know how to analyze it. So that's what we do in terms of the support. We want to support you, whether it's analyzing it, whether it's actually finding it, right? Even having the conversation with them as you find it. So what he just went through right there was, hey, Here's the knowledge. Here's where you're going to get that knowledge to learn how to do it, right? Here's locating leads so you can now know how to go out and look for them, right? If you want to literally go out and look for foreclosure, there's a way to do it, right? Is where you go and how to do that. If you want to go look for subject to properties, there's a way to do that. So we show you how to do that in locating leads. That is happening today at 1 p.m. So make sure you jump on if you can, right? So we help you locate the leads. Then you jump on with James. He show you how to talk to the people, how to have that right conversation, right? And then once you have that conversation and you get that offer in to them, you bring it to the mastermind. And then on the mastermind, we break it down for you. Here's the repair costs. Here's what this is going to look like. So we give you the whole process in which you can learn how to do this. So don't be afraid. Don't be bashful. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure you understand how to do that. You know what I'm saying? And so we give you that. What's that going on here?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Man, you rolled all those in together. Sweet. I like that. Like a mashup. No, that's right. So, man, just what I want to stress is that whatever you want to do in real estate, like it's so much here that it's hard to go anywhere else and look. Like I'm telling you, like all the classes that we learned, we did not know before we met this community. Uh, it's been great, and then it's so beneficial because you can grow your business and you can grow your wealth and work for yourself, be your own boss, and this type of things you can pass down to your children, and you can start buy back in your life, buy back your time, buy back your freedom. So that's why I really like this strategy. Actually, let me say this. So when I got into real estate, I actually had a family home that actually got foreclosed on. And from that moment on, that was very impactful for me. And in the process, I didn't understand foreclosures at all. This is way before I started getting into real estate. I haven't even thought about real estate at that time. I was young, and that happened. And the house went away. Went to the auction. Investor purchased it at the auction. Then they fixed it up. Did a really good job. Seen the pictures online, and it sold for a nice price. And I told myself that I would never want nobody to go through that process, especially alone, not knowing your options that's available. I'm going to share my screen because I do want to share with you guys the 8 options that Jerry mentioned that you can give to a homeowner who's dealing with foreclosures. So before I do that, since I got this up on the screen already, this is a software that we use within our education platform to help us generate leads. So when you talk about how do I find people in foreclosure, well, this right here has over 148 million properties in the database. Okay. And right here, as far as leads, you can find your foreclosure right here. People in foreclosure and pre-foreclosure. So we utilize his pre-foreclosure right here. I'm circling. So you can use a database like this, which I use in my cold calling marathon that's happening at 10:30 Central. So about 30 minutes after this show ends, I use this to pull a list, right? And I get a nice big list of people who are in pre-foreclosure. I did not know that sometimes people next door to you are in pre-foreclosure. You can't tell because they go to work every day and come back home. They cut the grass. The place look like the nicest house on the block, and you don't even know that they behind on their monthly payments until you see maybe a dumpster out front or somebody moving in. You like, when did so and so sell their property? And it's right next door to you. And this actually happens. I'm talking from experience. So this actually happens. So this is one place where you can find those leads quickly. Now here's your 8 options. If you guys want to take a screenshot of the 8 options that we learn inside our classrooms, you can do so. So anytime we're meeting with a homeowner, we're sitting at the kitchen table or at Starbucks talking to them, and we're saying, hey, I know you're going through a certain challenge right now. I know the bank has been giving you grief. Tell me a little bit about what your situation is. Once they do that, then you say, well, did you understand that you had 8 options? And they're like, 8 options? I didn't know I had one. Like, I thought I was going to lose the property,
Briefly
right?
go over them. Briefly go over them. real quick.
Yeah, so let's go through them real quick for time's sake. Number one is bring the loan back current. That's the most obvious one. That's all us meaning that, hey, we maybe got money in our savings account, or maybe we can borrow money from a family member and say, hey, I'm behind 5,000 on my mortgage. This property is in good condition. I don't want to lose it. This is where I live. This is where my kids stay. Can I, borrow the money, or do I have money myself that I can just pull and pay that mortgage, bring it back current, and now you're good. You're out of the foreclosure process. You don't have to worry about the courts, right? Foreclosing
And
on your house.
the second one, people don't really, really, truly weigh this as an option. Once you find out what the person actually owe on the property, and you can kind of see whether they have equity in it, they can actually contact the bank and do what's called a loan modification. And they can just basically say, hey, look, can I pay this or put this on the back end of my mortgage? You can actually modify that loan. So you can show them, hey, because most of the time they don't know, right? So you'll be educating them on, hey, did you know you can modify this loan that you have? I didn't know, right? And so that's an option, right? And so you definitely want to kind of knock all of these out kind of in this order, because so that they can really see that you are trying to help them more so than just get their property. And most of the time they done had lawyers calling and a whole bunch of investors calling them, hey, let me get your property. I'll buy it, I'll buy it. And they may want to stay in that property. They may want to legitimately live there, right? So presenting these options give them a sense of, oh, there's a way that I can, actually save this property, or I can stay in it. So loan modification is one. Refinance. Obviously.
Refinance. People know about that. Sell to realtor. You know about that. FSBO. That stands for for sale by owner. So it's just simply saying you're selling it on your own. You don't want no realtor helping you. You don't want people walking through your property or whatever. Like, I'm going to sell this on my own. And nowadays, the platforms like Zillow and other places would allow you to list your property on there. And you can try to see if, you can find a buyer by yourself. Sell to investor, that would be us. The investor, the buyer, that'll be us. Bankruptcy, we don't get too heavy in, right? But we do let them know that it is an option. We don't do bankruptcy.
We
They have
have
to.
a bankruptcy class, though. We do
Yeah,
have a
we do.
bankruptcy class, so you can learn how to help them with understanding, hey, there's a chapter 7, whereas chapter 7 and chapter 13, right? So they're two different ways. One is collectively, hey, I'm going to figure out a way to make these payments, and the other one is, hey, discharge all of my debt. So you got to figure out, or help them figure out, which one they want to, it's going to be a better filing for them. And sometimes, that might be the route that they have to go, filing bankruptcy. You know what I'm saying? And so being able to provide that help as well, right? Being able to sit them down. Again, we do have a bankruptcy class where you can actually learn how to do this and have that conversation. So important. That's why I always emphasize, the more strategies the more opportunities the more real estate opportunities just gonna be falling into your plate, because people having challenges, people having problems, right? And so if you know how to solve problems, man, we good to go. So
All right, finishing up with 7 to 8. Deed in lieu of foreclosure. That's a voluntary foreclosure. You just tell them the bank, hey, yeah, I'm willing to just give you back the title and I'm done with it, whatever. So that will be on your record. So definitely want to know that. And then do nothing. Do nothing is really an option, because if you do nothing, you're really accepting the foreclosure. So
correct.
that's do nothing. All right. All right.
And
Well,
some
that's
people
all
stay
we can.
years. Some people stay in years, before they even get the boot. You know what I mean? So they're just soaking it up,
Well, those
living
are the
life.
judicial states that allow
Yeah,
that timeline. That's why you
yeah,
gotta know the
Right.
timeline, right?
exactly. That's how everything plays in together. So
Sure.
just want to put that out there.
So this was fun. This was fun, man. I hate that I gotta go. I gotta go. But guess what? I will see you guys right back here next week at the same bat time, the same bat channel. Oh, as I'm talking about Bat, right? Batman. inside of the creative acquisitions, that's what he teaches when he's talking about subject to and all these different strategies. He's talking about be Batman, be jump in the plane, fly over to the problem, and then jump out of the plane, get on the motorcycle, and then do. So you got the tools to handle some problems, y'all. So just want to say, y'all, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Y'all know what we do here on the Juice. We provide the juice so that you can be successful. So that's what we are here to do every single week. And we'll be back next week with a special guest next week. So make sure y'all here and miss it. Go ahead, Big J. Take them out.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad everybody jumped on today. I hope this is value to you. We had a great time doing this today. We appreciate all the support from you guys every single week. We really appreciate it having you guys. We love doing the show. This episode 89, we just feel like we're just getting started. More and more to come. I hope you guys take this and I hope it inspires you to go do real estate. And if you haven't seen our community or what we have to offer, go bug Jerry in the next 30 minutes. He's doing an intro. Jump on there with him. Ask him all the questions you got. No questions a dumb question, but the ones you don't ask. And thank you guys.
Right.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead, LaShawn.
I was just going to say, in adding to what, James said, that you never know who's next door to you that is going through a financial challenge. Just being able to have someone to talk to and trust is huge for someone that's going through a foreclosure. So now you know that you have a resource, a trustable resource. So, definitely bring them along. Thank you.
Right. And I don't know if you guys realize you can hear the passion in our voices and just bring you this information. And you got to think we weren't talking like this before. We didn't have this education, you know. So this is a learning process for all of us, and we just love to share it. So once again, we like to appreciate each and every one of you tuning in every Sunday, like everybody said. So on behalf of that, you have been
Juice!
Juice.
All right, we'll see you here next week, same time. Enjoy your weekend.
Bye.